If it's sports in the Lake Martin area,
One, two.
Lake Martin Sports Roundup right now.
And good Tuesday evening out there to everybody, and welcome into the Lake Martin Sports Roundup show presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. Brett Pritchard and Scott Hardy here with you till 7 o'clock. We would love to hear from you. Give us a call, 256-234-6221 to be part of the program as we are every Tuesday night, Scott, right here at JR Sports Bar and Grill. Again, a lot to talk about tonight as we are heavy into the high school football season. Teams around this area, we'll talk about those. We'll maybe talk a little college football. It is football season, so we drift into college quite a bit on this program. We've got some teams, some youth league teams scheduled to be on the program tonight, so looking forward to that as the Jamborees took place this past Saturday at the Sportsplex, so the opening day scrimmages, real game starting tonight over at the Sportsplex, and football season is underway for Little League here in Alexander City. So we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to schedule your team to be on the program with us, whether it be soccer or football, because we know soccer, the fall season's going on right now, Scott, and looking forward to having a couple of teams on tonight. We'll play our first regular season game. El Toro and myself, our team will play tomorrow night. So we're looking forward to getting on the field and having a little fun out there. So we'd love to hear from you out there. If you got a youth league team in action, I'd like to give us a call, or you'd like to talk about any of the high school teams around this area, we'd love for you to call in and give us your take. We'll break down all the schools in this area, Scott, and good to see you, man. And it's hard to believe we're looking at week 5 of the high school. I mean, is that real? Week 5 of the high school season?
We had homecoming last week, and I was like, it can't be that time for homecoming, but Benjamin Russell takes care of Eufaula and then get ready for Pell City this week. And I mean, again, week 5, it's amazing how quickly it goes. You wish for it to come here, and then when it comes, but there's really been some good football played here, especially in Alexander City, but the area as a whole had a pretty good night Friday.
It really did. Direct opposite from the Friday before, with every team in the county losing. We'll start with Ben Russell, as we always do, Scott, and carry them over to the next segment. Once again, this is a Eufaula team that came in 2-0 as a new coach. The offensive coordinator from Opelika goes over to Eufaula. Was a team last year that, frankly, we destroyed early in the game. We're up 35-0 at the end of the first quarter, if that was possible. And this Opelika, this Eufaula team came into the Sportsplex, different attitude. You could tell skill-wise they had some really big guys up front, really fast. They thought, it looked like they matched up with us well, but it was almost deja vu. We didn't score as many points this time, obviously, but in the first quarter, Eufaula found themselves in the same exact boat that they were in the year before, and they had a situation where they could not move the ball out of their own territory. They were backed up inside the 20 the whole night, and we just played outstanding defense, took advantage of turnovers. Tay caused a big turnover early in the game, and one play later, Tyree scored on a quarterback keeper, and we were up 7-0. It was kind of all downhill after that.
Yeah, and, I talking to some of the players before the game, we talked about it during the game Friday. They kind of took it personal what happened to them against Opelika, especially the offensive and defensive lines. Defensively, again, that game, we weren't able to get much penetration, and offensively, we weren't able to get off and, make sure we had running lanes available for our running backs. Complete opposite Friday night. Offensive line had a tremendous game. We had the opportunity to see Nakobe Maxwell get those carries that we had been hoping for, and we can see him being a very productive back. And also offensively, you saw the playbook open up a little bit. Tyree kind of get some more passing attempts there, and then you see Nakobe Maxwell being used as a dump-off option as well. So I think that'll be a key asset for Tyree and the rest of the offense as the season progresses.
256-234-6221 to be part of the program here. We're talking about Benjamin Russell from Friday night as they improved to 3-1 on the season, and a big win over Eufaula. They were able to, like you said, rebound against Opelika, a very good Opelika team that may not lose a regular season game. Scott may go into the playoffs undefeated. We'll have Pell City this coming Friday night. We'll run down scores a little bit later on in the program. We're going to go ahead and take our first break here on the Lake Martin Sports Roundup. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion and break down games from this past Friday night from around the area and talk about them. Maybe have some calls from some Dable people down there. Maybe get Kevin Kill to call in and talk about the Dable Tigers. Stay tuned. More of the Lake Martin Sports Roundup presented by JR's right after this.
Tires and car repair sexy? No.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Lake Martin Sports Roundup Show presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. Give us a call, 256-234-6221. To be on our program talking area football, obviously we talked about Benjamin Russell, the big win over Eufaula on homecoming night. Convincing win, really had the starters out basically second drive of the third quarter, and were able to end up playing a lot of guys in that game. A lot of guys got in. We'll slide over, talk some Dayville football, and Dayville, it was a tough break, losing Sean Jennings in the first half against Beauregard 2 weeks ago. Beauregard put a lot of points on the board on Dayville, but when Sean Darius went out, he was 10 for 10, I think. Really throwing the ball well, had a couple touchdowns, running the ball really well. He is a tremendous playmaker for them. He was back this past week and was on fire, and they really take care of business against Childersburg. And I put 60 on the board themselves this week, beat Childersburg 60-13, Scott. So rebounding from a very good 5A Beauregard team, Dayville's still going to be a really, really tough out this year.
Yeah, and Luke and I, during Saturday Sports Countdown Saturday, we were talking about, valuable players, and he was talking about Tyree, how valuable he was. And I said, outside of Sean Jennings, like, that really probably is the most important. Those two players are probably the most important players for their teams in the state. And you look at the difference that Sean Jennings makes from one week to the other. Now, granted, Beauregard is a very good football team going up a classification, so that was going to be a tough matchup regardless. But he comes back 10 for 10 for, I think, 230 plus, 4 touchdowns. So it was a really great game for him. And that's the type of Dable game that they needed to have come back. So to see Benjamin Russell and Dable in particular come back and fight back the way they did to get a big victory, I think bodes well for them going forward, because you want to be able to make sure that you can bounce back after a tough loss.
No doubt about it. Again, that's a big win for them to get some confidence. They're a high-power team offensively with him, one of the top prospects in the entire state of Alabama. His brother's already at Alabama, Anthony Jennings. So we'll be continuing to watch him closely throughout the season. So we'll look over here and run down. Let's see real quick. Over in 2A football, again, staying with Horseshoe Bend, Lafayette 52-31 over Horseshoe Bend. The crazy thing about that game, Scott, is it was 36-31 in the fourth quarter. They fumbled. I believe Coach Keeson told me they fumbled a punt. Lafayette was able to score there, able to put a couple more touchdowns on the board, and kind of got out of hand there. But that game was close in the fourth quarter. And that's the thing I know Coach Franklin, that coaching staff's trying to preach that team. I think Drew Hill had a great night. Is going to be our player of the week, Tallahassee County player of the week. He really can go. But just being able to finish the deal, having an opportunity right there at the end of the game, you're within 5 points of a win going in the full quarter in a shootout. You just can't let the wheels fall off. You got to hold on to the football. You got to do some things to help give your team, get your playmakers the ball coming down the stretch. So I'm interested to see how they can rebound there, because they fight their tails off over there and end up losing there to Lafayette, but they are in a very tough region. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, go ahead. You're on the Saturday Sports Countdown. You're on the Late Martin Sports Roundup.
I know where I'm at, but hey.
Well, I'm glad you do, Jerome.
That was a great game. I didn't get a chance to go see my Bulldog boy play. That's where I grew up. I went to school there, the class of 1980. I mean, they came back for the last 2 weeks. They was down. That's not that first week we were down to Reeltown, 22 points down. And Lafayette seemed like they were just a dead team. And I got to talk to them. I said, you got to believe in yourself. And then all of a sudden they started coming back. And then they done the same thing against Horseshoe Bend. And but look like, hey, they got there and they played. I'm proud for my boys. That, like I said, I grew up there, but I'm proud of Benjamin Russell too, because I'm a Benjamin Russell fan too now, because my daughter goes to school here, and it was a great game. I don't see why we we should have got a shutout, but I know that they put the third string in there and the second string, and the guy hiked the ball over his head and just wasn't ready. But anyway, y'all know I'm from Lafayette, and I'm proud of Lafayette Bulldogs, and they're looking good right now.
Well, Jerome, I want to ask you a question. I just want to say that we saw you down there on the concourse at the stadium with that claw down there. Just want to make sure you're not clawing anybody down there with that claw.
No, I wouldn't know about it, but we had it in the bag, but somebody thought, now I'm gonna hang up and listen to y'all, but somebody said Pale City was about as good as Opelika was.
Let me just tell you right now, I'm gonna go ahead and cut you off there. They are not. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not a good football team, but they are not as good as Opelika. I can promise you.
All right, but who's the other?
Chelsea. Chelsea's a good football. Chelsea's a good football team.
She'll be us, right?
Chelsea is a good football team. They'll be a team that we'll have to face later on in the season. I'm not taking anything away from the other region opponents, but here are my 4 region qualifiers from our region, Jerome. This is what I thought going into the season. I thought that it would be obviously us and Opelika in 1 and 2. I thought that Chelsea would be the third team there, and then possibly Oxford, Pell City, one of those teams, or Valley fighting out for number 4. So we'll see how it all ends up playing out.
think they got as good a team.
I was talking about preseason, Jerome. I was talking about preseason, Jerome.
Another team, I know y'all gonna go and break up, but there's another team somebody need to look out for. They get in 1A or 2A, whatever. That's Watley. In the last few years, Watley ain't had nothing. Y'all know Watley used to be the top team, but I think they have improved this year. But now, I don't know for sure, but somebody said that they were looking a lot better than they was years ago.
Well, they beat Appalachian 66-7. I know he can't hear me.
Program on Tuesday night. Y'all got, like I told y'all before, if ESPN ain't got nothing on y'all, so we are the ESPN, but we're here in Alexander City. Let's be proud. Let's back y'all up. Anything we need to do, we need to support y'all because y'all go way beyond. And like I said, I love y'all. And Roll Tide and Auburn just did squeeze that one out. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later, buddy.
I tell you, mouthful there from Jerome. Just go. You got to be on your toes because you can change subjects on the swat of a claw. Let me just tell you that you can change subjects that quick. But Jerome,
he's the greatest, though. In all seriousness, he really is, and so he always.
But let me just say something about him talking about Wadley. Wadley is a lot better. They
are legit.
66-7 over Appalachian. So I don't know much about Appalachian. So I'm just saying it's definitely a better year for them. We'll go ahead and take a break here. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion. Stay tuned. More of the Lake Martin Sports Roundup presented by JR's right after this.
A&M Plumbing, A&M Plumbing.
kind of jumping around on it, but I think the problem that we really have with it is without Nick's running ability, it prevents them from running or moving a safety down. So now, you have 7 defensive backs where you were having 5 and 6 or 6 and 7 defensive backs. So it looks a little differently scheme-wise, but I don't know. I'm not too concerned as of yet.
You're really not too concerned. I mean, like that to me, I'm concerned for you if you're not concerned yet.
Well, I mean, I'd rather our struggles be offensively than defensively, I feel like. And defensively, our two
But
best
you've been
players,
outgained by both squads so far.
In reality, I think we'll be fine. I just look at the defense. I think we're going to always score for the most part. Like, you could see how easy – I'm not going to say it was easy, but when Auburn needed to score Saturday, they kind of just went down and did it. And so they were really doing it with the scheme or the philosophy behind it was running the ball. And when they give you the opportunity to take a shot, do so. And so they got away from that. I don't know if he's been too cute. It looks like Malzahn's trying to show off his toy. And so he knew how this was going to work. And now that it hasn't really looked like the first half of the Eagles, I think we're still in the first half of the Eagles-Falcons game.
Okay, when I first started doing this show, and I was trying to go into Mike Shula a little bit. I remember Randy kept saying, spin, baby, baby, spin. You are spinning so hard right now. I want to put a needle on you and see what kind of music it'll play.
Hold that thought right there.
Okay.
We do have a call on the line. So, caller, go ahead. Thanks for joining Late Morning Sports Roundup.
Hey, Scott, this is Kevin. How y'all tonight?
Hey, Kevin.
Oh, hey, Kevin. Yeah, we'll go ahead and dive into a little day of football. We had an opportunity to talk a little bit about it on Saturday, but Kevin, a 60-13 victory there for the Tigers. Can you give us a little, overview of your thoughts from the game?
Yeah, it was one of them games that we just kind of jumped on them early, and kind of a remake of I don't know, last year's game. We kind of jumped on them early and got them down, I guess. But I heard y'all talking about Sean Darius. He was 13-14 against Beauregard, and then 10 of 10 last week. And these are not just 5-yard passes. I mean, he hit one probably 50 yards down the field that went for 60 yards, and then he hit another one that went for 80 yards. But you got to give these receivers a little credit too. You got Ty Stone. If you get it close to him, he'll come down with it. Isaiah Higgs, Margaris Buchanan, and there's 2 or 3 more guys. It's just fun to watch them. When everything's clicking.
It really is. Okay, Sean Jennings, he went out of the game against Beauregard, and obviously Dadeville couldn't get anything going after that, but he comes back this week. He looks very, very strong. Dadeville puts up a ton of points. What is his health like right now? Is this isn't a long-term thing that he's going to be dealing with, do you think, is it?
No, he's 100% released. They started with concussion, and it might have been a slight concussion, but they think it was more heat related. He went out in the second quarter, but played last week, and he played maybe 1 or 2 series in the third quarter, and then we pulled him out. I say we, the coaches pulled him out, and got him some more rest. But no, he was 10 for 10. That speaks for itself. I think he had 100, and I know at half he was 7 for 7, 194 yards, 4 touchdowns. So pretty impressive. But a lot of the passes we throw are short. Little swing passes and stuff, but he can throw a long ball as well.
Yeah, he really can. He's certainly a dangerous player, and he's a heck of a defender too. And I think that's something Dadeville's going to need from him all year long. There's no doubt about it. Who does Dadeville have coming up this week, and what can you tell us about them?
We got Hopeful, and we travel there, so probably look for more of the same, I guess. Hopeful's kind of struggled in the past few years. So, I would say it would probably be, like last week, and then looking ahead a little further, we go to Tallahassee. So it's going to get real tough. Coming in, you think Leeds is the powerhouse of the region. They go down to Mumford, and then the next week, Eclectic, Elmore County, beats Mumford. So, it's kind of all knotted up right now as far as region play goes. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. One thing about Mumford, who beat us last year, but they have to come to Dadeville. They have given up over 40 points. against Leeds and Elmore County. So I feel like Dable will get their points. And touching back on Shondaris, he played no defense last week, and I think that will probably be, until we got to have him. I don't think he'll be on the defensive side.
Well, Kevin, thanks so much for calling in, bud, and telling us all about this. I know we're looking forward to Dadeville's next game, and good luck to you guys the rest of the year.
Okay, appreciate it, guys.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, that was a great segment with Kevin Kill, the play-by-play announcer there for the Dadeville Tigers. We'll go ahead and take another break, and we want to thank U.S. AmeriBank for being the sponsor of this segment. And when we return, we'll have the 5- and 6-year-old Steelers, coached by Coach Fuji Felician. More of the Late Morning Sports Roundup show coming to you right after this. Welcome back to the Late Morning Sports Roundup show. Live here on location at JR's Sports Bar and Grill. 256-329-2328 is the number to dial in for them. And as we see, we have one of our famous football teams here, youth football teams, and they're going to take advantage of the special here. If you bring in your child in the uniform, you get it for $3. So that is the chicken finger meal there. So, again, take advantage of that. 256-329-2328. Right now, I want to welcome in the head coach of the 5 and 6 youth football Steelers, Coach Fuji Felician. Fuji, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man. Good to have me back, man. It's a blessing always to come back home, man, and give back to my community.
Yeah, so we'll start right there. So what, you've been involved growing up with the youth league program, and now the last few years when you've had the opportunity when you weren't playing ball to kind of be a coach and mentor these kids. So can you talk a little bit about that before we start about this group of kids?
Yeah, man. Like growing up, man, I had a lot of idols I looked up to, man. But they didn't come back and give back to the community like I thought they would. So as I got older and as I was practicing, I kept getting good. I get better and better and better, man. And once I grew up, I always knew I would give back to my community, man. And it's just a blessing to see a smile on these. I put a smile on these kids' faces each and every day I go out.
Yeah. So again, Fuji Felician, the coach of the team, and you guys start with practice. Obviously, 5 and 6 is flag football. So can you talk a little bit about how this is a little different? Obviously, I know it's no tackling, but what do you do differently from flag football than regular football, kind of to help with the practice?
Yeah, basically, man, 5 and 6 is a development league, to be honest, Scott. At this stage right now, man, just getting the proper steps or lining them up correctly, just teaching the fundamentals of playing football. And of course, flagging, tackles is a lot different. They just pulling flags now, no helmet, no shoulder pads. It's all about just learning them the fundamentals of the game before they step up to 7 and 8 year old.
Yeah, and I wish that had been something we would have had offered us during that time. Not to say that 7 and 8 wasn't helpful in getting kind of implementing some of the strategic things of football and learning how to do it, but to learn it at 5 and 6, kind of get established a little bit. We don't have to worry about getting tackled or having to make a tackle, because a lot of times at that age, that's what prevents kids from playing, is not wanting to get hit or taking a hit. So at least they're getting familiar with the game and they feel a little more comfortable playing football.
Yeah, man. Like piggyback on what you said, man. Man, we were growing up, we didn't have this, but it's just a blessing, man. Sonny Wilson brought this program to this time for these kids right now, man. Because some kids, they might be a little afraid of getting tackled right now. So this is just a good development league to get them into it.
Well, we're here with Fuji Felician, the coach of the 5 and 6 Steelers. And so before we take a break and give you an opportunity to introduce your kids, can you talk about the jamboree that took place Saturday and kind of how you guys did today in your first game?
Yeah, man. I'm the coach of the Steelers, man. Last year I was fortunate enough, and we won the league. And this year it's just a little tougher challenge for me. The kids are a little younger, and they just a beginning. But my jamboree, I took a tough loss 6-0, and then we came back today. We took another tough loss 6-0. So I guess my guys they really progressing as the season goes on, though.
I got you. So we'll go ahead and take another break. And again, we appreciate U.S. AmeriBank for being the sponsor here. But again, we will like to give the kids an opportunity to introduce themselves. So when we come back, we'll have members of the team, the 5 and 6 Steelers. More Lake Martin Sports Roundup show coming to you right after this.
Sorry about that. Coming back to you in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to the late morning sports roundup show, live on location in beautiful downtown Alexander City, the JR Sports Bar and Grill. We just had the opportunity to interview the head coach of the 5 and 6 youth football Steelers, Coach Fuji Felician. So right now, what we'll do is give him the opportunity to introduce some of his players. So, you guys, go ahead.
Gage. Turn around, buddy. Say it.
I'm Gage and I play receiver. My name is Zay, and then I play running back.
Turn it away. Say it.
My name is Daryl, and I play wide receiver. My name is Price, and I play quarterback. My name's Jackson, and I'm linebacker. My name is Blade. I play running back. My name is Ethan, and I play linebacker.
Good job, buddy. You play linebacker.
My name's Austin, and I play linebacker.
Good job, buddy.
My name is Jamarius, and I play linebacker.
Good job, buddy. Come on, Kyle. You play center. Yeah.
My name's Jakari, and I'm the center. What does he say again?
Jake, you play linebacker.
My name is Jake, and I play linebacker.
Good job, buddy.
All right.
My name is Jacob, and I play wide receiver.
Good job, buddy.
And that is your that is your 5 and 6 youth football Steelers. So again, make sure you go out and support the community and give back, like Coach Felician was talking about. So these kids really appreciate when you have a good crowd. Fuji, real quickly, when's the next game?
You can come out and support the Steelers, man. Thursday at 5:30.
Good deal. Well, again, this segment was brought to you by Langley Funeral Home. So we appreciate them being sponsors as well. The good people at Langley and at Randy Funeral Home. Randy Anderson, great people. So again, we appreciate them being sponsors. We'll go ahead and take another break, and when we return, Luke and I will have one more segment before he steps over to Sports Blitz, and I'll wrap things up. More of the Late Morning Sports Roundup show coming to you right after this. Welcome back, and thanks for joining the Lake Martin Sports Roundup Show. We just had the opportunity to have Coach Demetrius Fleeshon, Coach Fuji Fleeshon for those of you out there, and his 5 and 6 youth football Steelers as they lose their first game of the season. But again, youth football league starting up, and really at this 5 and 6 year old stage, it's really not so much about whether or not the kids get a victory. It's like Coach Fleeshon said, instilling the better parts of the game, receivers learning how to come off and stock block and catch passes, and quarterbacks kind of learning how to throw the ball a little bit. And again, this allows kids the opportunity to play who want to play football, but their parents may not allow them, in particular their mothers may not want them getting hit. But at least at this stage, you do feel a little more comfortable playing the game of football, and that allows you the opportunity to play. And I'm really excited about this developmental league, 5 and 6 league here. And so that was a great job by Coach Sonny Wilson, who again is somebody we look forward to having on the show. He does a great job as executive director of the Parks and Rec, and anybody who's had the opportunity to check out the Charles E. Bailey Sportsplex the last few weeks for a Benjamin Russell home football game, you've definitely had a treat on the field. They've done an outstanding job, he and his staff. They do tremendous work. So, again, hats off to Coach Sonny and his staff as well. But, again, kind of piggybacking off of some of the things we talked about in that last segment when Luke was here, I do want to give my opportunity to talk a little bit about the Auburn-Jacksonville State game. I know we'll touch on it on the next hour, but Jeremy Johnson doesn't have, the stellar performance that I think a lot of people were hoping for in a bounce-back game against Louisville. Comes back against Jacksonville State, I think 21 for 31, 220-plus, maybe something along those lines, and 2 touchdowns. But the thing that people are noticing is the 2 interceptions and the fact that in those interceptions he looks really, really bad. And so I hate to say that because I was one of his biggest fans, and so I don't want to jump off the bandwagon yet. I don't think there's a need. I've heard some people say, maybe we need to visit going to Sean White at quarterback or something to that extent, and that's definitely a negative. While Jeremy hasn't played his best, I think that as the season progresses, in particular this Saturday, I think you'll see a different Jeremy. I don't know that it's necessarily that he doesn't know what he's doing. A lot of people are saying that he can't read the defense. I don't think it's that. It's just a little more complex now than what they're used to facing. The 7-man front, 8-man, 9-man front that the Tigers are used to facing with Nick Marshall now as the runner doesn't necessarily take place with Jeremy Johnson. Jeremy Johnson now is facing more coverage looks, and they're kind of forcing people to say you're going to have to run on us, which is something really in particular I'm kind of shocked about that Malzahn hasn't taken advantage of those opportunities. But, again, the guys on Sports Call, Brett and Andy today, talked a lot about it. Getting back to the running game with Peyton Barber, Rock Thomas, those guys, and I think Rock Thomas might have buried himself a little bit, especially with the big-time fumble there. Almost cost the Tigers an opportunity to win the game. So it looks like Peyton Barber has done his job, albeit it was kind of due to injury is how he got his opportunity. It looks like in his time he's played, he's definitely taken great advantage of it. So, again, I'm not too concerned about Jeremy Johnson and the rest of the Tigers. They have a big matchup in Baton Rouge against the LSU Tigers. And so last week, Benjamin Russell, Auburn was ranked number 6. They dropped to number 18. LSU rises in the ranks. I think they're 13 or 14, somewhere around there. So, again, you'll have 2 top 20 matchups or a top 20 matchup. And then you look over other Carlson State, Ole Miss, and Alabama. So that's definitely going to be a big-time matchup as well. So I'm going to save my tidbit about Alabama for Sports Blitz Live. Luke and I will do a little bit of that. So what we'll do right now is take our final break of the evening. And when we return, I will announce the U.S. AmeriBank Lake Martin Sports Roundup Player of the Week. And we'll wrap things up here, and we'll get ready for Sports Blitz Live. More Lake Martin Sports Roundup show right after this.
Lunch doesn't have
Welcome back to the final segment here at JR Sports Bar and Grill, the Lake Martin Sports Roundup. We're brought to you by this segment, U.S. AmeriBank. And so kind of leading into that, we'll go ahead and announce our U.S. AmeriBank Player of the Week, and that is Nakobe Maxwell. He rushed for 21 times, 130 yards, caught and a touchdown, and caught 2 passes for 59 yards and a touchdown. So I think this was finally the game for Wildcat fans who kind of remember what Nakobe was able to do toward the end of last season, and what was somewhat garbage time a lot of times showed what he was able to do with his burst. And so, again, this game getting 20-plus catches or 20-plus touches. I think he had 25 total touches overall. But, again, this gives him the opportunity to really explode onto the scene. I think he's in for a monstrous second half, especially with the play of Tyree Gray. He's done an outstanding job running this kind of speed option of sorts. And so you didn't really have to see it too much last week. But outside of Sean Jennings, I think you're looking at one of the best athletes in the state. And whoever has the opportunity to get Tyree will definitely have a big-time player on his hands. So, again, congratulations to Nakobe Maxwell, who is the U.S. AmeriBank Player of the Week. Get ready to kind of wrap things up here. We want to say thank you to Coach Demetrius Felician for bringing his 5- and 6-year-old team up here. And Youth League sports in full swing now. Jamboree took place this past Saturday, and now regular season games are in the mix. Have the first slate of action took place or is taking place tonight, actually. So looking forward to see the results of that. And so, again, if your kids aren't participating in any sports or of any nature or any of that kind, please try to find a way to get them active and involved. I know that we have a plethora of options here in the Alexander City Parks and Rec, and so whether it be soccer or football, baseball, whatever it may be, I think there are a lot of options for kids to stay active and involved. So, again, try to take advantage of that. But, again, Benjamin Russell defeats Eufaula in their matchup Friday, gets ready to take on Pell City this Friday, kind of opening back up again with region play. And so, again, Pell City was a team last year in the first half where Benjamin Russell really had to fight a little bit, and it was one of the few times in region play outside of Opelika where they really had to turn it on at the end to win the game. But I don't see that being the same case this Friday. I think that Tyree Gray in the offense with Nakobe Maxwell starting to see Herring get involved a little bit more. Cole Grogan has been a consistent threat from the outside slot or outside position here. So really excited to see the progression of what the offense is going from week 1. Now we're going to week 5, which, as Brett and I alluded to in the first segment, it's kind of crazy to realize that, you're already in week 5. So Benjamin Russell going for a 4-1 record. And for those of you who have the opportunity to make it out to the Sportsplex this Friday, please do so. But if you're unable to, catch us on the call at 97.5. Again, they do a tremendous job. So also we have a lot of replays that are taking place, so we'll do our best to continue to push those out on social media and let you know when you can catch your area team. But again, we're wrapping it up here at the Lake Martin Sports Roundup Show. So for Justin Mosley in the back and my co-host, Brett Pritchard, I want to say thank you for joining Lake Martin Sports Roundup. Sports Live with Luke and myself coming to you right after this.